Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And its rights are visible as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we would understand about the Sustainable Development Goals, okay, and the number, how many numbers of Sustainable Development Goals are there? There are 17 goals, okay. This is regarding the Agenda 2030. So it is about that by 2030, these are the goals that must be fulfilled, which are sustainable in nature. That is, they will take into contribution. They would take into consideration the environmental factors as well as the advancement in the technology or other forms. So you should remember all the names, at least the title of all the sustainable development goals. Okay, if because if you know the title also and if you understand a bit about it, then you can write it in your own words, or you can give a, if there would be an option like an MCQ objective question, you would understand what it really means. But at least the goals or the names or the titles, you should remember the names exactly the way it is, because these are just one or two words. Okay, so you should know them exactly by verbatim. So the goals of the 17 goals are: first is no poverty, zero hunger. Third is good health and well-being. Then quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy. Then is decent work and economic growth. After that, industry, innovation and infrastructure. Then reduced in inequalities. 11th is sustainable cities and communities. You can write all of these goals down. Okay, these are important. At least a name you should remember. Then is responsible consumption and production. Then climate action. 14th is life below water. Then life on land. After that, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And last is partnerships for the goals. Okay, so we would understand them. We will know that the on September 25th, 2015, 193 heads of the state at United Nations General Assembly. So at UNGA, they set up a collection of 17 goals, which are also known by the name as simply global goals or the sustainable development goals. They form the core of the resolution of 70s to 1, the United Nations, which is breakthrough agreement called Agenda 2030. So what it means is that the goals are to be achieved by all the members of the state, all the 193 heads of the state. So all of them should meet that kind of a agenda, that kind of a agreement. They should all meet the goals. 17 goals should be achieved by all of them. They are a universal call to action to end the poverty, protect the planet, and ensure all people enjoy peace and prosperity. The goals are broad and interdependent and cover social, economic, and social issues, and making them work is everyone's responsibility. It is not just the responsibility of one nation to be imposing it on other nations, but it is a collective responsibility of every single nation. So now we would understand each of these goals. One is the first is no poverty, ending the poverty in all its form everywhere. How do we classify poverty? Whenever the income is less than, per day income is less than 1.25 US dollars. Okay, so that is called as the, just a moment. So that is called as the poverty. So 1.25 is approximately like 100 and like 100 rupees per day. Okay, so almost 100 into like if the income of a person is less than like 3,000 for India, if it is 3,000 rupees per month, if that is income of a person, then that is considered as poverty. Okay, so that is very less of income, very less. I think this classification is very much below. Okay, the setup should be little bit increased. Otherwise, it is very easy. Like even if the income of a person is almost like 4,000 per month, so that would not come into poverty, but that is such a less income that that could also be considered as a poverty. So this standard should be increased. Okay, the target for this goal include a world where poor are not vulnerable to climate change and equal rights to economic resources. The economic growth must be inclusive to provide sustainable jobs and promote equality. So what they want to eradicate is the poverty of 300,000 INR per month. That is the goal of 2030. Second is zero hunger. End the hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. Food security means, for example, if we if we make a food, if we like prepare the food, and if it is not kept in a good maintenance, okay, when we need it in future, and if it is not available in the good condition that is eatable, then that is not food security. For example, if some kind of a natural calamity comes up, then there should be good amount of food security available for us, for the government to be able to feed the people who have been devastated by the natural calamity. So many still suffer from hunger and malnutrition around the world, mostly women and children. The food and agriculture sector offers key solutions for development, and it is center for hunger and poverty eradication. The target of this goal is to end the malnutrition, protecting the small farmers, protecting the genetic diversity of crops produced, and investing research to make farming more productive. Then comes ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being for all at all ages. What it means is that we should ensure healthy lives. It's not that, when a person lives, it's not just about a person is in just in the condition of living, the person is not dying. That is not called as life. A healthy life is important, that the person is able to enjoy the life. Okay. Just the going inside of the breath and coming outside of the breath is not considered as living. Okay? So one should consider as a healthy living, and it is for all the ages. Okay, it is not just for young age or for newborn. It's for all age from newborn to old age. It includes the call for universal health coverage, increasing healthcare workforce, reducing illnesses, so as to promote natural forms of um, treating the illness, such as, like we are doing yoga and other forms of activity or exercises, and depending upon good diet. This is the way that a healthy lifestyle can be inculcated in this era, and also reducing the death by pollution, comprehensive agenda for tackling a wide range of global health challenges such as AIDS, malaria, and TB. So these are the goals which ensures the healthy living. Now, fourth is ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. What it means is a lifelong learning. See, education is not just about, entering the school and just getting a degree. That degree is not worth it if you are not applying whatever you have learned in the school or in the education curriculum into your practical life. There is a time the education that you're learning and that is not being utilized properly, so as to meet your daily demands, to be able to finance yourself, become financially independent, so as to be able to learn new skills which are important, such as the vocational skills, training skills, entrepreneurship skills. There's a time these skills you are not being able to learn. There's no point in that degree. Okay, that degree is not worth it. So that is why the quality education is important. It's not just about the number of years. For example, you have spent 20 years in education. Really, no point in that education. For example, if you're learning a language, if suppose you're learning the English language, why are you learning the English language? Why are we learning the subject English? The main goal is not to just, like just to pass the exams. It is to able to speak, communicate in the English. For example, if you're just learning the language, but you're not able to apply that language in a practical aspect, if you're learning a language, but you're not using it in day-to-day life, then there's no point in learning that language. So till the time you are reading a subject, whatever subject that is, apply that subject into your day-to-day life. That should be worth it. Only then that is why the focus is not just upon the quantity of the education, but the quality of the education, and it should promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. It is not just about till the age of 20 or 25, you are just learn and that's it. If you think your education has stopped after that, then there are many people who have been learning a lot every day, every single moment till the end of their life. They are acquiring more skills. If you do not remain up to date with all the education, all the information that is given to the world, then you will be very much, even if you are very fast at the initial stage, but then you will be set back years later, because education and the knowledge should be such which enhances your skills, and it should be grasped every day of your life. Then fifth is achieving the gender equalities and empowering all women and girls. Gender equality is not just a human right, but it is a necessary foundation for peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. Targets of this goal include freedom from discrimination and violence, ensuring equal shares of leadership opportunities and responsibilities for women, as well as property ownership. Several references are made to national appropriateness in the interpreting these targets, call out sexist language and behavior. So what it means is to say is that the gender equality should be maintained. And nowadays a new term has come up. It's not just about the equality, but it is about the equity. There's an image that I do not know how many of you seen that have been circulated. Okay. So in that image, there was a fence and there were three students. Of three of them are of unequal heights. Okay. So equality doesn't just mean that, if they are not able to see the match beyond the fence, then three of them are given equal bricks below their feet so that they're able to stand up. But that time, the equality is irrelevant. Why? Because three of them are of unequal heights. So the person of tallest height should be given the least level of bricks because the person is tall anyway. The person of the shortest height should be given maximum number of bricks, and the person of middle height should be given intermediate level of bricks, so that all three of them are able to see the match beyond the fence. So this is why it's about the equity that really matters. Equity means, for example, if suppose a person is financially weak, okay, so the equality, it's about till the time equality should be given, or all the opportunities should be given when the person is not able to, when the person is financially weak. But as soon as a person has achieved certain level of financial independence, then you can also call away those rights and give it to someone else who need it, so that it is equally shared among all the people and everybody benefits out of it. But if suppose, for example, if you give certain level of rights and shares to one person when that person is weak, fine, you gave that rights to that person, okay. But when that person has become strong, then you do not take away that rights. You do not take away that privileges. Okay, then it would not be considered as a proper distribution of the equality. This is why the new term comes about the equity. So equity should be maintained, gender equity should also be maintained. So that is a necessary foundation, because till the time we do not give the equal rights to every both the genders, they would not be able to match up properly in the similar arena of the, whether it is getting a job or getting good quality of education and every other thing, every other aspect of life. So every opportunity should be given equally to both the genders. Then sixth is ensuring availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Clean and accessible water. See, just giving the water is not about the sustainable goal. Clean water should be given to them, which is accessible also. It is not that, water is clean, but it is not accessible at all. For accessing that water, you need to go maybe like 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers away from your home. So that is not the goal, what it means to say. It should be clean, condition number one, and it should also be easily accessible. Basically, water scarcity affects 40% of world population. Target for this goal include programs that provide access to basic technologies like toilets and latrines, as well as protecting ecosystems that provide water, avoiding wasting of water. That is why in one of few restaurants I have gone. Okay, what I saw there is that usually when you open the tap, there is a lot of water that usually people do not that require that much water, so they keep on wasting that water. Okay, they do not close the tap as well. So at one restaurant, what I saw is was that the water that used to come out of that tap, that was regulated. So even if you completely switch, like completely rotate the tap in one direction beyond a certain limit, the speed of that water coming out of that nozzle would not be high. That really saves a lot of water. And that technique should be applied almost to every place, even it should be applied at home. Because we really think that we need lot of surface area of the water that should be coming out of the nozzle of the tap. But even if the speed of the water is very less, still we are able to clean our hands and even wash our face. So saving the water is very much crucial in life. I would urge everyone watching this lecture right now to also to save water whenever you're cleaning your hands, washing your hands. So when you want to make them wet, open the tap, but then close it immediately. Apply soap and then again open it. Okay, so keep on closing the tap and opening it again. Do not keep on letting it remain open till the time the entire process of washing the hand doesn't gets over. Okay, so initially it could be difficult, but just develop that habit. After that, it becomes easy after 5-10 days. Then seventh is ensuring access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable and modern energy for all. So the modern energy is like using the good amount of bulbs, not the old forms of bulb that consumes lots of energy, wastes lots of energy, and does not give sufficient amount of light as well. Energy is central to nearly every major challenge and opportunity. About 1.3 billion people globally have no access to electricity. The target for this goal is to emphasize a conversion to renewable resources and a dramatic improvement in the efficiency everywhere. So using only energy efficient light bulbs and appliances. Promoting sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth.
Can you go back to the previous slide one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm. So promoting sustained, inclusive and sustained economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all. So sustained economic growth. It's not just about, you get a job somewhere, but then after some time, somebody fires you like that. It should be sustained. It should be for long term. It should be inclusive in nature. It should not just cater to needs of few 1% of the world population, those highly privileged people, but it should be inclusive to every single person out there who is living on this planet Earth. Everyone should be employed. Everyone should be self-dependent. Everyone should have that equal opportunity to be able to earn, so that one could earn the bread and butter for the family, provide for the family, and full and productive employment. Okay, it should not be just part-time, or on the part-time basis, such as giving the salary like minute, minuscule salary, so as to just be able to survive. Not just that, it should be full-time, it should be productive form of employment. It should not be such kind of an employment in which the person is not able to improve oneself in a productive manner. And it should also be a decent work. It should not be that just one form of a person, like for example, depending upon the person or depending upon the gender, you give such some kinds of work only to one kind of a gender and some kinds of work to the other kind of gender. Equal types of work should be given to both the genders, equal forms, and it should not also be dependent upon the region. Like for example, if a person is from one region, then it should not be discriminated that this work can be done by those people only from that region, so just give that work to those people, even if the work is very much difficult. For example, climbing up the like mobile towers, which could be very much difficult. Okay, like drilling of the holes in the underground. So such kinds of work should not be just, it should not be, in an unequal form. It should be provided or shared equally to every kind of human beings. So sustainable economic growth will require societies to create the conditions that allow people to have quality job. It should not be, the quality, the job should have a good quality. It should not be it's just that the person is stressed all the time, the person is not able to depend feed the family, the person is not able to um, improve one's personality. So those kinds of jobs should not be the goal of the sustainable development goals. About 75 million people between age 15 to 24 are estimated to be unemployed and out of school globally. This core targets closing that gap using innovation as well as separating growth from ecosystem degradation. So it is trying to close that gap. It is like 15 to 24. It is trying to close this gap age. They want it, the upper limit to reduce and the lower limit to increase, so that not every person is unemployed at this age gap. Because if you are employed only, then you will understand how difficult it is to earn money. Then you understand the value of money. Then you understand about the finances, about how to save your money, how to invest it, how to utilize it properly. Most of the people are not able to employ, are not employed, or not able to earn money. That's why they take the money for granted and they utilize it in wrong ways, which leads to many disastrous problems in life, such as gambling or utilizing it in bad forms, which are very much unethical. So that is why it is told, it is the main goal of economy, the main goal of employment is so that person understand what all it takes to earn money. Ninth is building resilient infrastructure and promoting inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster the innovation as well. Investments in infrastructure are crucial to achieve sustainable development. Targets for this goal include fostering a more innovative and environmentally sound approach to industrial development. So usually the industry development that has happened in the past, it has not taken into consideration much of the environmental factor. Even if the environment is being badly affected by the pollution from the industries, from the noise produced by the industries. So that has never been the goal in the past. Now they are trying to implement such goals which are very much eco-friendly in nature, which are the creation of the industries and also the infrastructures should be such that they achieve the sustainable development also. The infrastructure should be resilient in nature. It should not be such that you just create the infrastructures and just one earthquake comes up and they all fall apart. So the structure should also be very much strong enough to be able to withstand all kinds of natural calamities and also the earthquakes and other disasters. reduce inequality within and among the countries. The world is massively unequal. You can also see that some of the nations are extremely powerful, that they are working behind the curtain. There are some countries which are powerful, which are working under the other very powerful, extremely rich countries. And it is also been told that even the elections and every kind of things are not just upon the voting of the majority of the population, but it's about the the passing of the passing of the money from one party to another party. Because if you are able to go or understand the goal of the powerful country, then you winning the election in a weaker country is still more, because the funding is been provided by the powerful nation to the weaker nation so as to be able to win the election and come into power. When you come into the power, then you follow all those guidelines which are being told by the powerful nation, even if those guidelines are very much against the citizens of that country. That is why it is told that when the inequality should be reduced among the countries must be powerful enough amongst themselves such that they are not dependent upon the powerful nation. In consideration to the safety of their own country. To reduce inequalities, policies should be universal in principle, paying attention to the needs of the disadvantaged and marginalized populations. So what it then the main focus should be all those population which are very much disadvantaged and marginalized should be given proper attention. But when they have been able to achieve that level of good financial independence and also have come out of the disadvantaged position, then the privileges can be removed so that it could be transferred to those other remaining disadvantaged and marginalized population that are yet to come into the normal in the normal gap of the population. So target for this goal include the financial market regulation to make playing field more equal, making migration more orderly, safe and regular responsible. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. There needs to be a future in which cities provide opportunities for all. So what it trying to achieve is that all cities should be so much independent in itself that it should provide the basic services, education, energy, housing, transport, and many other factors. That city should be self-dependent, that it should not be taking help from other cities, but it should be self-dependent in such a way that it provides all the basic facilities to the population of its city. More than half the world of the population lives in cities. Targets for this include addresses like transportation, disaster preparedness, as well as preservation of the world's culture and natural heritage. Bike and walk and using the public transport to keep the city's air clean. So what it mentions is that usually the transportation of some of the cities is not good. For example, even in some cities, there on some bus services, public transport services are very bad. It is not good. Like it takes 1 or 2 hours to be able to just reach 5 or 10 kilometers within one city. And in some cities, the transportation facility is so fast, so good, so high, so frequency is so high is that within like it takes almost 30 to 40 minutes, even if you travel for around 40 to 50 kilometers within the city. It is very much organized. So this kind of sustainable cities, the target is to achieve that kind of self-dependent cities, not just 1 or 2 cities in the entire state, but also every other cities in that state. So that even if the natural disaster comes up in one city, it should not be wait for the preparedness to happen from some other city, but it should be self-dependent so as to mitigate that disaster on time without needing the help from some other city. 12th is ensuring sustainable consumption and production pattern. This goal targets topics like reducing food wastage, corporate sustainability practice, and educating people on the impact of their lifestyle choices. For example, usage of recycled paper, not wasting the paper, not throwing it away, not misusing it, using recycling the glasses, recycling the plastic, and also the aluminum. Even if it is a plastic polythene, it should not be such that you use it and you throw it in the dustbin and you use some other one. Try to reuse that plastic again and again. Then take urgent actions to combat climate change and its impact. Climate change is a global challenge that affects everyone everywhere. So, in the Paris Agreement of December 2015, which guides the nation to jointly commit to limiting global warming to not more than 2 degrees Celsius. What it wants to, like for example, there is a lot of climate change at a at a very disastrous and tremendous rate. The climate change is happening. So, what the goal of the Agenda 2030 is to take urgent action against it. Educate young people on climate change to put them on sustainable path early. So climate change and usage and trying to preserve the nature, trying to preserve, trying to reduce the pollution in the cities. It's not just left to the poor people or the middle class people to follow these rules. It is also upon the extremely rich, extremely like 1% population of the world. For example, if you tell a poor person who is like burning the tree, the trunk of the tree, and is not does not have a heater, is working outside the gate, lying there at the month of the December in extremely cold condition. And if you tell that person, that poor person, that do not burn the tree or polluting the environment, you are producing fire on the trunk of the tree, which could be utilized, which could be recycled. Okay, got it that you gave such a good peaceful advice of how that poor person could minutely preserve the environment. That is good. Okay, fine. But what about, if suppose there are people who are like traveling on private jets, traveling in extremely rich cars, and like all the petrol that is being utilized into that vehicle, into that private jets. So that level of pollution, that level of burning of that fossil fuel is almost 1,000 times more than that of that poor person who has been burning the wood in the night just to save oneself, survive oneself from the extremely biting cold. Whereas those people at the rich level of the society are living a luxurious life and still not preserving the environment. So the climate change and the action which is needed to combat it, it should not be just left upon the poor people to understand it, but also upon the rich people as well. For example, if you tell the poor people, majority of the population that do not use the plastic, okay, that's good. One should not use it. But there are many extremely ultra rich people who have been, like wearing those dresses that have directly been taken from animal skin, an extremely costly form of dresses that cannot come without poaching of the animals, without cutting millions of trees to be able to prepare that one level of good quality fabric of that growth. So such information should not be limited only to poor people but also to the rich people. And 14 is conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. It is a careful management of this essential global resource is a key feature for sustainable future. The world's oceans are overfished, underprotected, and stressed from climate change and pollution. But nowadays it is changing a lot. If it had in the past it has been overfished, but now due to illegally killing of many animals, even if they are aquatic animals, the population of the fish has been very much reduced drastically for past 10 decades. The target for this goal include research and learning to find out more about what lies beneath the oceans so as to save them better. Avoiding the plastic bags also and throwing them and not throwing them in the oceans or in the rivers or the seas so as to preserve the aquatic life. 15th is the protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem. Sustainably manage the forest, combat desertification, halt and remove land degradation, halt biodiversity loss, to stop the biodiversity loss. This course targets the stopping the threat to living ecosystem and biodiversity on land, planting a tree and protecting the environment. So it is trying to promote the sustainable growth of the life on the land. 16th is promoting peaceful and inclusive societies for
Go back, sir, to the previous slide.
Hmm. Halting is to
Okay.
stop. Okay. Okay. Then 16th is promoting peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development. Access to justice for all. So justice should not be just limited to one um, percent of the population. Okay, justice should not be such that if the person is rich and that person is able to bypass all the laws because of the money being involved in it, and the poor people are not able to seek justice because if suppose there has been an accident that has happened, one is of extremely rich person and another is of extremely poor person, and the mistake was that of a rich person, but still the poor person has been sent to jail because the rich person has been able to do corruption, has been able to bypass the laws of the country. So justice should be accessible to all, and building an effective and accountable institutions at all levels. So the target for this goal include reduction of the violence, end to the torture, corruption, and creating of the institution and governments that work for everyone, irrespective of the financial gain one person has, or irrespective of the gender, irrespective of other forms of maybe it could be religion, it could be caste, whatever it is. So it should be equally working for all the people. So use of right to elect the leaders in a country and local community. So the election should not be rigged. It should not be such that the people, the nation with the highest level of funding that has been provided by the industrialists, only those people win. Be it some other nation also. Okay. So it should be almost an equal rights given to the majority of the population. And the 17th is the part strengthen the means for implementation and revitalize the global partnerships for sustainable development. Every country and every sector has a role to play in achieving the sustainable development goals. So it's not just um, putting the all the workload onto one country, but every country has its role, has every country has a sector which has a role to play in SDG. The goal targets ensuring the countries have what is needed in achieving and rest of the sustainable goals such as funds, capacity, and technologies. The goal emphasizes the need for partnership and collaboration. So, for example, if one country is not able to achieve the sustainable development goal, then that country can be able to do partnership or collaboration with some other country in return of the monetary benefits that will be provided to the other countries if they got the resources that is needed so as to be able to achieve the sustainable development goal. So this last goal emphasizes more on the partnership among the different nations so as to remove the hatred between one country and the other country to spread the peace across the planet. So this is all with the 17 sustainable development goals for today. So we end the class over here. Any other doubts or queries?